It's Monday night once again, and welcome to AMN Academy with a new schedule. Every first and third Monday of the month, it's the turn of 9.09er English to talk about the different English examinations that are accepted for USA visa screen. And every second and fourth Monday of the month, it's the turn of the NCLEX Review Center partners of AMN Healthcare International to give you free lessons on how to pass your next generation NCLEX, but it's the first Monday of the month. That's why for tonight, we are going to talk about English examinations. Yes, you know for a fact that there are two reasons why you're supposed to take an English examination. And what's the first one? It's for visa screen application. And the second one, your license endorsement. Yes, there are six options accepted for your US visa screen. And what are the six English examinations? Here are the following. There's IELTS, OET, PTE, MET, TOEFL, and TOEIC. Please take note that any of these examinations will help you to have your visa screen certificate. It's just that when you apply for a license endorsement, not all of the states accept all the English examinations except for IELTS. That's why AMN Healthcare International focuses on the importance of IELTS because it's the only English examination accepted by literally all the states. So you hit two birds with one stone if you're going to take IELTS. Number one, you get to have your visa screen, and number two, you get to have your license endorsement. That's why for tonight, we have featured guests. We have the British Council Philippines who would like to invite you to join the face-to-face events this coming March. At the same time, we also have Nurse Orlan to talk about his actual examination experience. By the way, Nurse Orlan right here passed his IELTS with British Council Philippines. He is from the Visayas and he decided to take his British Council IELTS on computer examination with British Council 9.09er IPAS Roman Bacolod Testing Center. So before we go to the presentation of Sir Mike Abigan of the British Council and the actual examination experience of Nurse Orlan over here, perhaps let's ask Sir Mike to greet our live audience. Good evening, Sir Mike.
Hello, good evening, Sir Irvin. Sir Orlan, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, Sir Mike. So later, guys, you will have an idea of the upcoming promotions of the British Council in the Philippines. And don't forget, there are upcoming face-to-face events in the following. Number one, Metro Manila, which is, by the way, happening this Saturday already. Another one by the end of the month, that's March 29 in Laguna. In particular, 9.09er British Council, Calamba, Testing Center. And then, if you are from Central Luzon, we are visiting Cabanatuan, Nueva Ecija. That's on April 26. Lastly, May 31 in Dagupan, Pangasinan, Testing Center of the British Council 9.09er English and IPAS Processing. And we have a special guest for all of the live attendees. Let me just get this one. What is this, ladies and gentlemen? It's the 2025 edition Listening Reading IELTS compilation of 9.09er. Brand new practice tests. 6 for listening, 6 for reading, all recent and 2025 edition. So what's the promise of British Council and 9.09er English? All the attendees during these face-to-face events are going to receive a free copy of the book. No one is exempted. Everyone joining will have a free copy of the book. And after the face-to-face events, we are going to raffle off a free IELTS examination worth 12,720 pesos. We also have partner consultancies that will discuss your options in going overseas. But more of that later on. For now, let's ask Nurse Orlan Balano to greet our live viewers worldwide. Nurse Orlan? Do we have a technical problem with the audio? Let's see. There you go.
Hi, good evening. Am I audible, Sir Irvin?
Yes, very much.
Okay, so good evening, nurses, and good evening, everyone. For those who would be interested to take your IELTS this upcoming month. I don't know if I'm audible.
It's clear now. Later, we'll give more time for Nurse Orlan to talk about his actual examination experience when he passed the IELTS on computer in British Council Bacolod Testing Center. So, guys, I know for a fact that there are a lot of nurses who are a little bit afraid to take their English examination as compared to their NCLEX. And I'm with you. Why? Because as nurses, you are more familiar with the field of nursing. For like 4 years in college, you studied about nursing. And then when you work in the hospital, it's nursing, nursing, nursing every day. However, some of you might not speak in English all the time in the hospital. Or if you work, say, for instance, in a provincial hospital, you get to talk to the patients in the first language or the vernacular. That's why we know that some of you might be a little hesitant to take their English examination, but we are hoping that the actual examination experience of Nurse Orlan here will encourage you to prepare for your IELTS. And later, we are going to know his story when he took the examination. But as early as now, I'd like to highlight that Nurse Orlan over here got 7.5 and better in listening, reading, and speaking. And then for writing, that's 6.5. Amazing, isn't it? With these grades, Nurse Orlan can actually work in literally all of the English speaking countries, especially because Australia announced that this coming April, they are going to accept lower band scores for the writing subtest for internationally qualified nurses. If you want to know more about that, 9.09er English and iPass Processing had a session discussing this one. Now, it's the turn of Sir Mike Abigan of the British Council Philippines to talk about latest promotions at the same time, IELTS on computer venues in the Philippines, and an invitation to join our face-to-face events. Later, we'll be interviewing Nurse Orlan, but for now, it's the turn of Sir Mike.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. So, good evening, everyone. I'm Mike. I'm with the British Council, as introduced by Sir Irvin. So, I will talk about how to ace your IELTS test with the British Council, as well as the promos that we have and the resources we have for you, plus the details of the events that we will have this month and in the following month in April. Right. So, next slide, please. IELTS is the International English Language Testing System. British Council is a proud co-owner of the IELTS, so we deliver the test in the Philippines. The test is being developed by the other co-owner, the University of Cambridge. Okay? And next slide, please. We've been doing IELTS, we've been testing English across the world for more than 35 years, and we have the most number of recognizing organizations among all English language tests. So we are recognized by 12,500 organizations worldwide. IELTS is the only test accepted by all nursing boards in the US. Okay, so if you're planning to go to the US, IELTS is the best English language test for you. And we pride ourselves with the reliability and validity that we have maintained all through the years. We've never had any issues with IELTS in terms of breaches, cheating, or malpractice. Okay, so next slide, please. Some quick facts about the IELTS. There are three types of IELTS actually. IELTS for UKVI and IELTS Life Skills are taken by those who are planning to go to the UK. As nurses who are planning to go to the US, your requirement is the IELTS regular. Currently, it's at 12,720 pesos, available both on paper and on computer format in more than 24 locations across the country. We have 20 testing centers for IELTS on computer across the Philippines, five of which are in Metro Manila, two of which are from Niner, and we have nine other IELTS testing centers with a Niner review center across the country. We do paper tests in Manila three times a month and once a month in other key cities. Okay. The tests include listening, reading, writing, and speaking. The speaking test is currently done via video conferencing, similar to this layout, where you come into a room and the computer is set up and you talk to the examiner via a video call platform. Okay, next slide, please. So there are also two modules for the IELTS. There's the general training module, which is taken by those applying for migration and for skilled work visas. As nurses and professionals, your requirement is the academic module. Okay, so just to be sure, regular IELTS academic module. This is more stringent in terms of its requirements because basically you are applying to be professionally recognized as nurses in the US. Okay, next slide, please. So in terms of the test format, I've mentioned earlier that IELTS tests all four skills: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. When you pick a schedule for your exam, you usually pick your schedule for the listening, reading, and writing test. If it's a Saturday test or a paper test, usually it's on a Saturday morning. If it's a computer test, usually it can be on a weekend or on a weekday, either in the morning or in the afternoon. You will also receive a separate schedule for your speaking test, which is about 11 to 14 minutes. So the listening, reading, and writing test will take about 3.5 hours to complete. And you will have some time gap before you can do your speaking test in the afternoon or in the morning, depending on the schedule that you have taken. Okay. Next slide, please. So there are no passing or failing marks for IELTS. You only need to meet the requirement set by the country you're applying for. Like in the US, I know the requirement is 6.5 perhaps, and then a 7 in writing or speaking, if I'm not mistaken. So you only need to meet that particular requirement. The IELTS also has an expiry or a validity period. So it's valid only for 2 years. So you need to be able to use your IELTS test within 2 years after you've taken it to maximize the benefit of the test. But it doesn't mean that you have to take the test every 2 years. If you have already used your IELTS, for example, you've already received your visa for the US, you are already working, you don't have to take the IELTS again unless you will shift to another country or you will need to apply for another visa, a separate visa, that requires an IELTS test. If your IELTS test has expired, you need to take another IELTS exam. Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. Right. So one particular option that we have offered in October 2024, I think, is the one skill retake. This option is not available in any other tests in the market. The one skill retake enables you to sit only one skill if, for example, you would like to increase your overall band score or improve on that particular skill that requires a specific score. So I've mentioned earlier, 6.5 maybe for the US overall band score, maybe 7 or 7 for writing or speaking. If, for example, you didn't meet that requirement, you can opt to take a one skill retake for either writing or speaking to improve your scores. Okay, but the one skill retake is only available for IELTS on computer. This is not available for IELTS on paper, right? So you need to take the IELTS on computer. Then, if for example you need to retake or improve your scores, you can do the one skill retake. If you're taking IELTS on paper, if you need to improve your scores, you need to take the full test. Again, for computer tests, you have the option of retaking only one skill, and this is priced at about 7,700 pesos for the regular IELTS. Okay, next slide, please. So in terms of our test locations, these are available on our website on British Council page /exams/IELTS. There's a QR code for your reference. Next slide, please. I also would like to highlight the testing centers we have for IELTS on computer. I have here the locations where we have Niners. So in Manila, we have two locations, computer centers where we have Niner. We have them with Niner in Manila across University of Santo Tomas, and in Makati, behind Makati Medical Center. In Luzon, we have in Vigan, in Tuguegarao, Dagupan, Cabanatuan, um, Cavite, Laguna, and Batangas and South Luzon. And in the Visayas, we have Bacolod. Okay, next slide, please. In terms of the differences between paper and computer, basically both are accepted for the US, regardless of what format you take. There are like four differences between IELTS on paper and IELTS on computer. For IELTS on paper, the results take about 13 calendar days, so it's about 2 weeks to be available online. Plus, you have to wait for another 3 days before the actual certificate is delivered to your address by a courier. For IELTS on computer, we have now a 24-hour guarantee, so you will receive your results within 24 hours after you've taken the exam. So it will be available on your test taker portal after 24 hours. And you can download the results in PDF format. You don't have to wait for a certificate. Actually, we no longer give out printed certificates for IELTS on computer. Everything is downloadable on the web, on the test taker portal on the website. And you can download this multiple times, send this out to different recipients, as many recipients as you want to send it to. Okay. In terms of schedules, we have more schedules for us on computer. It is more flexible. In Manila, we have tests every day, and in other locations, we have tests every weekend. For IELTS on paper, we are limited. We can only do 3 to 4 tests in a month in Manila, and then once a month in other key locations. I mentioned earlier, one other key advantage of IELTS on computer is the one skill retake option. This is not available for IELTS on paper. So to summarize, the advantages of IELTS on computer: more schedules, faster results, downloadable PDF results, and then one skill retake option. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. Right. So, in terms of the other items we have for IELTS, no, we do have preparation resources available for you. If we can move to the next slide, please. We have um, IELTS Ready and IELTS Ready Member that's available for you once you have registered to take the exam. So here, the next slides, I'll differentiate, highlight the advantages of IELTS. Other tests say that they are growing their recognition, but again, IELTS is recognized by 12,500 organizations. I have to stress, IELTS is the only test that is accepted by all the 50 states in the US at the moment. Okay, next slide, please. Others would say that they you can book your test with them 24/7. Same thing with IELTS. We have 20 testing centers, and we're growing the number of testing centers we have nationwide for IELTS on computer. You can also register up to like 24 hours before your test. If, for example, suddenly you are required to take the exam, if there's an available slot for the next day, you can register now and take your test the following day. That's an option available for IELTS on computer. Okay. Next slide, please. Others say that their tests are easier, faster, and simpler. IELTS, we say that our tests are secure and reliable. We give you a lot of preparation materials, and we offer the one skill retake option. Okay. Next slide, please. Other tests say that you can take all your tests in one go. In 2 or 3 hours, you complete everything. But for the IELTS, we pride ourselves with the proper way of doing the test, and we allow you to have a break between your listening, reading, writing test and speaking test so that you can rest and relax and do your best in the next section of your exam. Okay, next slide, please. Others only offer the test on computer because that's the in thing, that's the best choice at the moment. For IELTS, we still offer the IELTS on paper for those who are not comfortable taking the test on computer. If, for example, you're used to doing your tests on paper and writing using a pen, you can always book the paper test if you feel you're most comfortable. You'll be able to do your best through that format of testing. So we still offer that option for test takers. Next slide, please. Others say that their tests are easy to score and results released quickly. Same with IELTS. IELTS on computer, we release the results within 24 hours. Okay. And then you can download the results and send it out to as many recipients as you can. Next slide. Again, unlimited score reports for IELTS. The same thing for other tests. Same thing with IELTS. Results downloadable in PDF format and send it to as many institutions as you can. Next slide, please. Right, so those are the highlights. And now to focus on the IELTS mini fairs that we have. Sir Irvin mentioned earlier that the first IELTS mini fair for this series will be in Makati on March 8th at Niner Makati. And then the next one will be at the end of the month, March 29 in Laguna at Niner Calamba. The next one will be in Nueva Ecija on April 26 at Niner Cabanatuan. And the last of the series will be on May 31 in Pangasinan at Niner Dagupan. So this will be in partnership with all the other partners of Niner to give you more information about the various opportunities that are available for you. So if you want to register, admission is free. Sir Irvin mentioned earlier that we will be giving out books to all the attendees. You can register using the link on the screen, or you can scan the QR code and register now to be able to attend the event this Saturday or later in March, in April, or in May. Right? So thank you. Next slide, please. Right. So if you have any questions, our email address is britishcouncil@britishcouncil.org.ph. Our Facebook page is IELTS British Council Philippines. Our websites, britishcouncil.ph and ieltsasia.org/ph. Thank you, everyone. Sir Irvin?
Thank you so much, Sir Mike, for the comprehensive discussion comparing IELTS and other English examinations and highlighting the importance of taking IELTS on computer because your results are available the following day. Before we go to to Nurse Orlan, let's take a look at some of the comments of our live viewers. By the way, if you have questions for Sir Mike, he'll be with us until the end of the Facebook Live session. Let's take a look. The first comment from Eds, do you have schedule for Cebu? On the comment section, I shared you the link where you can check all the available test dates and examination venues in the Philippines. And then another comment right here from Alejandro. Is AMN a direct hire agency and can they hire Filipino nurses who are coming from the UK? Yes, this is one of the benefits or the advantages of the AMN Healthcare International. They offer direct hire model. At the same time, AMN helps nurses from all over the globe. You will notice that there are a lot of attendees or live viewers from Africa, the Caribbean, and also South Asia. Yes, AMN caters not just to Filipinos, but all nationalities all over the globe. So if you're interested, all you have to do is to look at the link that we have here for AMN Healthcare International. And the best part, if you're qualified, you get to enjoy free IELTS review with 9.09er English. So you don't have to spend a single centavo. And this is what we take pride in. Daily one-on-one coaching in speaking, which is, by the way, always considered to be the most important subtest in IELTS. That's why later we will ask Nurse Orlan to focus on his speaking examination experience. Also, I would like to highlight that since 9.09er English is on AMN Facebook Live twice a month, the other Monday, that's third Monday, I'll be with Sir Brian. So it's more of a lecture focusing on speaking, writing, reading, listening. We're already done with on the spot speaking this year and on the spot writing tasks too. So 2 Mondays from now, Sir Brian is going to do on the spot writing task on academic. But every first Monday of the month will be with the British Council and a featured IELTS passer. Speaking of the featured IELTS passer, let's go back to Nurse Orlan. Good evening, Nurse Orlan.
Hi, good evening, sir. Am I audible now?
Perfect. So, guys, we are just apologizing because sometimes if we feature someone new on the show, there are some technical difficulties with StreamYard. Most Filipinos prefer to use Zoom or Google Meet, but with StreamYard, sometimes there are technical difficulties. But right now, it seems to me that everything is perfectly clear from Nurse Orlan over here. So before we talk about your actual examination experience, please tell us more about yourself and why you took the IELTS.
Oh, I'm Mr. Orlan Balano, a registered nurse. Well, basically, I took the IELTS exam. For one, it would be for employment purposes, and of course, to gauge my knowledge related to the English language. One of those predominant reason as well is we need to upgrade with our communication skills, and of course, with um, the advent of our need as nurses to go abroad, it is very essential that we need to take IELTS. And what I have noticed is one of the most accurate and wide globally accepted examinations would be your IELTS.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that concise response. So, we cannot emphasize it more that IELTS is the only English examination accepted in all countries and all states of the United States. Yes, there are other English examinations, but they have limited recognition because one English exam is only accepted in USA, uh, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. So, if that nurse would like to work elsewhere, that particular nurse needs to take another English examination, which is the IELTS, because as mentioned, IELTS is the only one accepted by all the states and all the countries. Now, Coach Orlan or Nurse Orlan over here is actually from the Visayas. And from where he lives, there is no other English examination. IELTS is the only available English test. That's why he decided to take the IELTS so that he doesn't have to travel all the way to Cebu just to take other English examinations. So let's talk about your preparation. How did you prepare for your IELTS examination, particularly the speaking subtest, which is always the most important subtest for nurses going abroad?
Oh, with this, I actually 9.09er is a big help for my practice and for my preparation for the IELTS examination. With the vast resources that 9.09ers have when it comes to preparing students with the one-on-one coaching, and then the recorded lectures actually helps me. And apart from that, when you use or when you apply with British Council, what's good with them is they offer free materials, which you could actually use and download anytime, which I think is really convenient because, like on my end, that I usually do work morning jobs. The only time that I could access those materials are at nighttime, and it's readily available 24/7. So both this institution were very vital in helping to prepare for the IELTS examination.
Guys, I would like to highlight the importance of AMN Healthcare International, 9.09er English, and the British Council partnership. Why? Let's begin with AMN Healthcare International, sponsoring the English review and English examination of their nurses so that nurses don't have to spend a single centavo for their preparation. You are all endorsed to 9.09er English for your IELTS preparation, where you get to enjoy, as Nurse Orlan said, daily one-on-one coaching available Monday to Sunday round the clock. Yes, we have international reviewees. That's why we have coaching slots even during the wee hours. And once you are ready, you will be endorsed to the British Council for you to take your IELTS examination. I would like to highlight the IELTS Ready Premium. That's the material that Nurse Orlan mentioned earlier. It helped him to get the required band scores because all that he needs is internet connection, and voila, he can answer the practice tests. He can watch videos and study using the IELTS Ready Premium platform of the British Council. This one is activated after you register for the exam. So as you can see, Niner and British Council, we are working together. We do not compete with each other. The British Council hires our venues as actual examination centers, and we offer daily one-on-one coaching. So what the British Council cannot provide, Niner provides. And what Niner cannot provide, the British Council offers to the examinees. So now let's talk about your actual examination experience. Like, what time did you arrive at the examination venue? Is the testing center accessible? How was it? Let's talk about your actual examination experience.
Well, because I have experience as well with the face-to-face IELTS examination and, well, the more recent computer examinations, what I could actually say is that computer examinations, you don't have to be really that early, like 2 hours or an hour before the examination. With a computer examination, you just could be there at the examination around 30 minutes before time. And I know a lot of people would say that they would be afraid because it's computer. No, actually, um, in the examination room, the staffs would be very helpful to assist you with any needs that you would have. And it's actually very accessible when you have your examination. The rooms are quite comfortable and spacious. And of course, if you'd be thinking that it would be made via computer and the speakers wouldn't be understandable, I was amazed that it was very clear. It's as if that you're talking to the examiner. And another thing that I had experienced is that I think for those who are probably afraid of talking to people personally, it would be ideal for them, and it would be a nice choice if they would have the computer because it's as if that they're doing the coaching every day. So I think that's one of the actual experience. And comparing those two experiences, I would actually say that having it on computers would have some beneficial over those who took it on a face-to-face basis.
I just loved how Nurse Orlan here discussed about his actual examination experience. And it is just so encouraging, especially for nurses who are a little bit shy, who are more of an introvert, and are not fond of talking. Now, we have heard from the grapevine that in other English examinations, there are, let's say, 15 to 20 candidates talking all at the same time in the speaking subtest. But with Nurse Orlan, tell us more about your speaking examination. Did you talk together with 15 or 20 other candidates, or were you the only one talking? And was it via video call? Did you have the examiner in front of you? Please tell us more.
Oh, it was conducted on a one-on-one basis. I was actually the only one in the room, and it was actually the time you have to go there at your specified time. So you'll be alone in the room. No one, you won't be concerned whether someone is listening to you outside. And the area is actually highly isolated from the noise. I don't think if there would be noise cancellation. I haven't noticed it. But what I have noticed is that while taking the test, it's as if that it's just you and your examiner. And you cannot hear any noise from outside, or probably I would say that I'm so preoccupied with my examination and was so focused with my examiner. But nevertheless, the area is very comfortable. And as opposed to the face to face, sometimes that you might get intimidated because you would see the person in flesh. In a computer assistant, it's as if that you're just simply talking to your examiner, and most of the examiners are really calm and encouraging to allow you to talk and finish your statements before they would interrupt you.
I just love that description. Sometimes, when you have other people talking together with you, you are easily distracted. It's as if you are in a marketplace, in a public market where everyone is screaming at the top of their lungs, competing with each other's voices. But in IELTS, definitely you won't feel that because you're the only one talking, no invigilator standing right beside you. At the same time, no one is going to judge you because it's just you and the computer inside the speaking cubicle. Now, let's talk about your result. After how many days did you receive your IELTS result?
Actually, I probably have received it not more than 24 hours. There was a pop-up message with my email, and then when I opened it, I was amazed that it's already the result. Because with the face-to-face examination, you have to wait for 14 days. Unlike with this, voila, the following day the result is already there, and um, it's as easily accessible through online as well, and you could have a copy of it.
Guys, remember that there are two kinds of IELTS tests. There is IELTS on paper and IELTS on a computer. At a time that was when there was no IELTS on computer, candidates had to wait for 13 calendar days or roughly 2 weeks. Sometimes, when you wait that long, you might be sleepless or anxious. However, last year, IELTS introduced a major change. And what is this? You don't have to wait for 2 weeks, not even 5 days. Now you get to have your IELTS results within 24 hours. So IELTS is making it very competitive in order for the nurses and all candidates planning to go abroad to choose this examination over the others. Now, when you looked at your IELTS result and you saw, if I'm not mistaken, a 7.5 in speaking, and this means that you can go to the United States of America, what was your key takeaway, especially when people say that it is difficult to pass IELTS?
Actually, with proper preparations and with the right help, with the right people helping you, um, it would be easier. I think on my end, I would really love IELTS because it's as if that just you're conversing with another person on the other end of the computer. And actually, you don't have to bother if it's an AI or what, but it's actually an actual person. So there could be a touch of compassion if they would know if you had ended your statement or not, and they would move on with the next question. I think that's one of the things. So if I would be asked if I would have to take an IELTS again, I think I would say yes.
I love that. Now, my question is what is your message to fellow nurses who would like to take IELTS in the future?
I know that most of them are actually afraid to take IELTS because they would often hear that IELTS is very difficult. But actually, that's just a preconceived ideas or notions that it's difficult because, well, if you look at it, all examinations are actually difficult if we're not prepared to to tackle those exams. But actually, familiarity with how the exam is conducted, preparation time of what would be your enemy during the exams, what do you have to prepare to. And I know that being a coach as well for IELTS, some would say that they really have to have a vast knowledge. No, as long as you're conversant, you know how to talk about these topics. And I think it's more easier because these topics are just topics that would happen every day, and it's a natural phenomenon that you might have experienced already. All you have to do is to recall this experience, put it into words, and um, then you will have a good score with it when it comes with your speaking test or any subsets of your IELTS examination.
Wow, just wow. I think those are the exact words that our dear nurses need to hear. Sometimes, when you expose yourself to so much social media, it gets to be confusing because one vlogger says this, another candidate says that. But if you just focus on your own skill, forget about what you read, what you see, what you hear, then maybe this is a better way for you to prepare for the examination. That's why AMN Healthcare International sponsors the English review so that you have a guide. It won't be confusing because you don't get to hear several people, everyone with their own opinion. And that's also the importance of one on one coaching because the coach is going to tell you what needs to be corrected and what you must continue to do in order to pass the examination. Watching YouTube is not bad at all. It's just that preparing for an examination solely depending on YouTube might be considered as something which is dangerously overconfident because YouTube cannot tell you what your mistakes are. Sometimes the instructions are these, but you wouldn't really know if you're doing well or not. That's why you are endorsed to 9.09er English for your daily one on one coaching. And when we endorse you to the British Council, you are in good hands. Last question, Nurse Orlan, before we call Sir Mike back in. How do you describe the customer service of the British Council Bacolod Invigilators?
Oh, it was fantastic. I was actually felt like I was taken care of very well. And they would actually reach out to you to remind you of your examinations. They would also tell you that of the time when do you have to go home. They would just simply tell you that you could actually go back there after 30 minutes, and that would be fine with them. And if there are actually any need, you could simply approach them. And one good thing is most of us would be worry of our staffs when we try to take an examination. But there's actually a prescribed locker for all the examinees where you could just simply leave your things. And the staffs and the invigilators would take care of those personal belongings, and they will give you your own personal keys for that. So I think overall it was a fantastic experience.
From what I hear, it's 5 stars for British Council Bacolod Testing Center. So let's ask Sir Mike any last few words for our dear nurses who have plans of going to the United States and are still undecided as to which English examination to take.
Right, okay. So again, I have to stress, I've mentioned this several times during my presentation. IELTS is the most is accepted in all the 50 states in the US. So you have all that flexibility. If, for example, you're not sure about your plans yet, or if, for example, one state has filled the slots already and there are more openings in other states, you can easily be assigned to whichever location in the US because IELTS is accepted in all states. So that's my tip for you. IELTS is the most flexible test for you. We have all the resources to help you prepare. Niner is there to help you. We have the most locations in terms of IELTS on computer, and we are continually expanding on those locations. Plus, we have a series of events, face-to-face events with Niner this March, April, and May. And then that's where you can actually get in touch with us, talk to us, and know more about your options and IELTS. Thank you, Sir Irvin.
Thank you so much, Sir Mike Cabigon. Now, before we ask for Nurse Orlan's final words, let's take a look at two questions from our live viewers. And Chloe Nicole asks, "What's the passing score for migrating to Australia as a student?" Australian universities and colleges have their own band score requirements. So please verify with the school what the specific band score is needed in order to get to that, in order to enroll in that particular institution.
Mhm.
However, this is something that you can consider as a guide. If you're applying for um, a diploma course, usually 5.5 to 6 will do. But if you're applying for a bachelor's degree, most of the time it's 6 to 6.5. If it's master's degree, expect 6.5 to 7 is the requirement. But for PhD, for sure it's 7 to 7.5. Who knows? If you're going to an Ivy League university, they might require 7.5 to 8. That's why it's always best to double check with the school and ask for the required band scores. Now, another question, and this one is from Erica. Do you have Batangas schedule? Oh, yes. As mentioned earlier, 9.09er and Roman Canadian Immigration Services, we are the official testing center in Batangas. For IELTS on paper, it's once a month and usually on a Saturday. For IELTS on computer, it's for sure every weekend. Saturday examinations are always available, and depending on the number of candidates, we also open Sunday sessions. Now, last few words from Nurse Orlan, from one nurse to other nurses.
Well, basically, I know it would be fearful and a lot would be afraid to take an examination, but the first step always is to know your goals and to achieve your goals. And I know with British Council, AMN, and of course 9.09ers, with their trusted experience, you would be confident that you'll be receiving the highest quality of preparations, and they would also support you all the way during your examinations. So just remember, during your examinations, stay focused, stay confident, and trust your abilities because you're in safe hands.
Yay! Thank you so much. Thank you, Sir Mike. Thank you, Nurse Orlan. And we hope that, guys, after tonight's Facebook Live session, you will be able to choose which examination you're going to take for your US visa screen and license endorsement. Once again, do not forget every first and third Monday of the month, it's the turn of 9.09er English to talk about the required English examinations for you to work in the United States. Every first Monday of the month, 9.09er together with the British Council plus a featured IELTS passer. And then third Monday of the month, it's lecture time with Sir Irvin and Sir Brian. Guys, don't forget the second and fourth Monday of the month, free NCLEX lectures only here on AMN Academy. And every Friday, there is what we call Onwards and Upwards show, talking about anything related to the journey of nurses who would like to migrate to the United States of America. Once again, don't forget our upcoming face-to-face events for IELTS, starting with March 8th, Saturday. That's 9 a.m. to 12 noon at 9.09er British Council, Makati Testing Center. Guys, thank you so much for your time, and we hope to see you in our future Facebook Live sessions. Good night and bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.